I think this movie's gonna bomb.
Yeah, judging from the packed legions of teenage girls, and I'm sure
Oh
it'll
my
do a
God,
flash of the pan.
I walked in there because I just ran back inside to use the restroom. I walked back, and first of all, I just walked right the fuck in. Like, this guy at the ticket counter is like, there's like 15 people in front of him, and I'm just, bye. I just walk right the fuck in. There's a line of people waiting to get into the auditorium, and I walk over towards the restroom, and there was a girl standing there whose back is towards me, and she's wearing like that spandex, like, suit, those suits that they're wearing during the games.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Though she's wearing like near identical to one of those, and I fucking walk up and I see that, and I'm like, say, turns around, like 16. God damn it.
Done, Brett. Say.
Well, I didn't
Shouldn't
literally
you be
say
in
that. It's a school night, little lady. Need a ride home? I didn't literally go, say. Well, it could have been worse. Could have been turns around at 5. I just thought she was really small.
Damn you, bovine growth hormone.
Well, this movie's way better than The Starving Games.
So good. I'll put it to The Starving Games, yeah, definitely. No, I was thinking it's way better than the first Hunger Games. But yeah, it's because we watched The Starving Games the other day, and boy, was that a bad movie.
Yeah, it was. Although, having fucking watched that stupid fucking movie, like, 2 days ago, my dumb ass is sitting in the theater, and whenever the two announcers are on the screen, I'm like, oh, where's Cleaver?
I miss Cleaver. Cleaver was the high point of that movie.
Yeah.
In The Starving Games, there was, like, the two announcers instead of Toby Jones and,
The...
other guy.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, it was Stanley Tucci.
Well, no, Stanley Tucci in The Starving Games was just...
No, I'm saying, like, in this one, it was Toby Jones and Stanley Tucci.
Oh,
but in
yeah,
The Starving
yeah.
Games, it was random guy and Cleaver, who I guess was a survivor of The Starving Games originally. He was just this kind of burly black dude, except they dyed his goatee and hair magenta, just holding a cleaver.
I like that in the fucking Starving Games, the characters all have, like, a name that is, like, a pun on their actual...
Can't miss Evershot.
Yeah, except for Stanley Tucci, who's just called Stanley Tucci, or something that sounds like
Yeah,
that.
I'm pretty sure they just called him Stanley.
Yeah, I think so, because, yeah, we're stupid. We can't remember that guy's name. Let's fucking call him Stanley.
But anyway, the actual movie that we saw, because you've never read the books or anything,
No.
so, like, the plot twists, were you surprised?
Honestly, yeah. I was. The ending, I didn't see the ending coming. A couple other things that I was expecting in it, like, didn't happen, which I like, because that means it was relatively unpredictable. Like, okay, for instance,
What'd you expect to happen?
the old lady.
Mac.
Yeah, I was expecting, like, maybe towards the end, it turns out she's, like, gonna be, like, fucking bloodthirsty and shit like that. Like, it's gonna, like...
no, she's
it's
just old.
Then she's just old. Alright. I didn't see where I thought it was going with that. It didn't go, and I didn't get mad that didn't happen. The ending, when they actually took out the dome, and she's airlifted out of it, and all that, I didn't see that coming. I thought that it was... I didn't really know how it was going to end, but I didn't expect the games to get interrupted like that. So overall I enjoyed it, and I liked the first movie. This one I did like this one better. I liked this one for a lot of the same reasons that I liked the first one, and some of the same things I didn't necessarily like about it were also the case in this one too, but not quite as much. Were there any really significant changes from the book?
Not so much. I did want to say that I like this one more than I liked the first one, because as much as I liked the first one, it was a little uneven in terms of plot development, where this one had definite, like, acts. But it also, I felt, didn't pull its punches as much as the first one did, and that brings us to your point, which is, like, in the first one, one of the most diabolical things about it is at the end, when, like, those dogs are attacking them, the dogs had actually been made by the Capitol scientists out of the corpses of the previous competitors, whereas in the movie they were just dogs. But in this one, they actually show, like, in District 11, when that uprising starts, they just flat out shoot that old guy in the head. Or, like, the Jabberjays, for that one portion of the clock, where they were just, like, screaming in the voices of the loved ones of the competitors, and it's brutal because, you know, it was emotionally impactful for the competitors, and also because Jabberjays imitate a noise they've heard.
Mm-hmm.
So the implication is they would have had to make their loved ones make those noises.
Mm-hmm.
And they actually touched on that in the movie, which I appreciated.
Oh, did they? Oh, it went right over me.
Fennec mentioned it in past. He's like, they got those noises somehow.
Oh,
and
okay.
then that's the
yeah.
reason he was kind of sitting in the surf, because they mentioned, like, oh, you know, they wouldn't do that to Prim. You know, Prim's a darling. They don't give a shit about Annie. They probably got Annie in a box somewhere just poking her with a stick.
It's in the box. I really love the just the giant fuck you to reality television that these movies have, and they're my favorite things about both of these movies, the first one too and this one as well. Just the entire indictment of how crap and so fucking soulless reality TV and forced fake celebrity is. That's my favorite part of both of these movies. Honestly, my least favorite parts of these movies is actually when it gets to the games. Because, not that I think that those parts are necessarily bad, I'm just a lot more invested into the pretty good satire of reality TV mixing that in with politics, and how it sort of shows superficiality pretty equal on both of those parts. And then when it gets to the first one, with its shaky cam shit, and the first one, when it actually got to the games, it started giving me a headache.
Well, the first one is, it's got, like, it's basically there's a gigantic bloodbath at the cornucopia at the outset of the games, and I can see them needing to not show that as brutally as it's portrayed in the books, so they had to kind of, like, shaky cam around
Which
it.
was so fucking annoying. Like, these movies are made by people that wish to God they could make it with an R.
I wish they could have, but I guess it's a young adult novel.
Yeah,
But,
that's honestly unfortunate, because I get that there's absolutely no way a fucking major studio would release this with an R. That's unfortunate, but it's sad, but I get it, even though I don't agree with it. But in this one, it's a lot better at that than the first one was, because it's not shaking the camera all over the goddamn place. The camera's relatively still throughout, when people are having conversations and when the action is going on. In this, when it does get to the games, there are moments where I was kind of like, kind of bored a little bit here and there.
Well, in the book, a lot of the games portion is them figuring out the clock business. You know, it's not so much like kill or be killed as it is let's form a team and try to figure this shit out, which can be kind of boring, especially like trying to find water. But
there was acid fog.
The acid fog was gross.
The acid fog, when they washed it off with water, like, oh, that's fucking convenient. That way the makeup person doesn't have to.
Festering boils all over themselves, and then they stick their hands in the water, just kind of.
That took care of it. Oh, that saves the makeup guy a lot of work. He doesn't have to keep putting blisters on them. And the baboons. The killer baboons showing up, which admittedly...
I don't remember that in the book, but it's been a while since I've read the second one, so they could very well be in there, but that was a little silly.
It was, trust me, it was done way better in this than it was in After Earth.
Okay.
There's this very similar scene in After Earth, and this movie does that way better. Oh, God, what was I gonna say? And you said you didn't like the third book very much?
No.
So you're not looking forward to the third movie?
That movie is gonna blow unless they change a lot.
I guarantee they won't, because supposedly they're splitting it into 2 fucking movies. So it'll be about 5.5 fucking hours. I fucking hate that shit.
I can't spoil stuff, but the first movie is gonna be boring as shit. The second movie is gonna be depressing as shit.
That's how it always is when they fucking chop up a book into 2 parts and make 2 fucking movies like that. You have one movie that's fucking boring, and then you have a second movie that's
Deathly Hallows Part 1 and 2.
And then you have a second movie that's just batshit insane. So you're left with a 5.5 hour movie that should have a couple hours cut out of it. I mean, there's a reason why. There's a reason why 5.5 hour movies aren't made out of a single book, unless it's a mini series. But in a fucking movie, there's a reason why certain stuff doesn't get shot. Okay. I mean,
I think you're complaining about The Hobbit now.
Not really, because all of those are boring. I'm more so thinking about Harry Potter and, to a lesser extent, Twilight. Twilight was, that Breaking Dawn Part 1 was fucking boring as sin. And the second one...
I need to actually watch the second one.
You really do. That movie was worth every goddamn penny.
At midnight, they showed the footage of Renesmee before they made her out of computer graphics. She's this weird, crinkled little Muppet.
Let me tell you something. That would not have been out of place in that goddamn movie. That movie was so fucking batshit. That creepy fucking doll, or whatever the fuck that thing was, would so not have been out of place at all. In fact, I would have loved it even more if that goddamn thing was in there.
Have Michael Sheen interacting with it.
Oh, yes!
With 3 E's, my pet.
Bring me the creepy child. Going to haunt my nightmares.
We'll haunt each other's nightmares, won't we, precious?
God damn, I love him in that movie. Son of a bitch. Okay, well, I want to talk about Gale.
Fucking Gale. Well, the thing is, in the books, Katniss is definitely, she's got a thing for both the boys, but for the most part, she's invested in the whole, everybody I know is dying, and there's a revolution on our hands thing. She's not just vacillating wildly between one or the other, which is what they were doing in this one. But I understand that you're trying to appeal to the OMG teenage girls. Which, okay, just, briefly, can someone please explain to these girls that it takes just as long to say OMG as it does to say oh my god? Because I heard it 5 times in that theater. And it was driving me insane. OMG, that movie was amazing.
I love the guy at the beginning who had the hiccup. No, wait, he was sneezing.
He was sneezing, you're like, Hachee! Hachee! And someone said, bless you! And then the theater went, hee.
Someone from across the fucking theater just, bless you! That's what I should have just screamed at it. We were sitting in the back. We were sitting in the very fucking back, which is much better than the fucking front. Jesus goddamn Christ. I got here an hour early, and it was just fucking packed. I fucking walked back in there. I happened to see 2 seats that didn't have a purse or anything on them. So I say the least, is anyone sitting there? No. Oh, sweet. Drape my coat over it. Went to the arcade. Fucking, but this movie, I don't know how it is in the book. I don't even know how it is in the third one. I don't even know what the third one's about, really, but this movie does not need a love triangle, especially one with Liam Hemsworth.
The thing is, I don't, Gale's alright, she's his childhood friend and so forth, and PETA is just such a fucking milquetoast that I can't wrap my brain around a woman being attracted to him sexually.
Neither can I, really, but I also don't buy her attraction to fucking Gale in this movie, because he's so...
She's busy doing stuff. She doesn't even be making out with boys.
Right, yeah. But even the way that, she, in the scenes that she has with Gale, she's trying her damn best, and she does a good job. She's great in this movie. But fucking Liam Hemsworth is standing there giving her nothing. So here's a scene where there's no fucking chemistry on screen. It's not her fault. It's his goddamn fault. And so I'm watching this movie, I like the stuff with her and, fucking PETA, thank you. I almost said fucking Peter Malarkey.
Peter Malarkey.
Not Peter Malarkey.
I see, for me, it felt like she was with Gale out of a sense of obligation, and she was with PETA out of a sense of, that romancing the stone sort of speed Sandra Bullock. We're attracted to each other because we're in danger sort of thing.
But what I like about that is that this fucking corrupt-ass business that's putting this show together is essentially forcing those two together. And no, they're not supposed to have much chemistry together. They really don't seem to like each other that much in the movie. I mean, they don't hate each other, but...
PETA likes her.
Yeah, but I like that. Yeah. I like that, though, that they take these two people who really...
It harkens back to your reality TV thing.
Exactly.
We need to build a story around these people. Okay, you're in love. Go with it.
We need to make a story around these two people who wouldn't, in any other circumstance, ever be together like this. And I like that. I really like that. I think that's good satire. I think the same exact thing can be told and be just as biting without it being a love triangle. I don't know, but maybe if I
didn't think they harped on it too much.
No, they don't.
Gail mentioned so I made out with PETA, that kind of blew.
You're right.
I'm gonna kiss your face, okay, goodbye.
Bye. Yeah, you're right, because really, Hemsworth is only in this for probably like 10 minutes at the most. And it's 10 minutes that easily could have been cut out of the goddamn movie.
Yeah, I think they just wanted to remind us that he was in the game, so to speak. Not the actual game, but like the game for Katniss's heart.
Yes, true. well, hell.
She and President Snow had more chemistry than her and none of the other two boys. Kept giving each other the eye.
Her and PETA, I don't mind, because it's not like they're supposed to have, like, the best chemistry in the world. But it seems like she and the other dude kind of are, and he's...
I think her and Gale, I think they... Like, from a realism standpoint, they're two people of a like age growing up in a very small community.
Yeah.
If it was, if all things being equal, yeah, they'd end up, getting married, even though they're not necessarily soulmates, just because they're there and they're relatively compatible.
Kinda, yeah, but I mean, he delivers this performance with absolutely zero charisma, so to speak, in any way, shape, or form. He's so goddamn wooden and nothing, just two-dimensional as fucking shit. Like, maybe if it was acted with a semblance of fucking charisma.
Well, plus they kind of cut out most of Gale's backstory. Like, he's got, like... 6 or 7 siblings that he's taking care of.
I thought you were going to say 6 or 7 kids. I was like,
yeah,
wow.
He's a single father trying to make his way in the world.
Wow, they did not touch on that at all.
Started happening when he was 8. Look, it's a hard life.
The book is really weird. Why is this advertised towards kids?
At least there's no incest like that goddamn City of Bones.
Yes. I forgot I saw that piece of shit.
You did go see that one.
Yeah, I did. That sucked. That was a double feature. I had to go see fucking Paranoia with Liam Hemsworth.
City Mortal Instruments.
That was
I read the book for that. Well, I read almost all of the book for that shit.
What's that other fucking thing coming out?
Divergent, which actually I was going to use as a segue, because I read almost all of the first book of that one too.
Any good?
Well, it's good enough.
Sold.
I lost interest about 9/10 of the way in, so that's hardly.
Are there like a bunch of them?
Oh yeah. Apparently the second and the third ones are supposed to get like progressively better. I just haven't. I got too much stuff to do.
It looked like a movie from Summit Pictures. It did. It looked, and as soon as that trailer started,
I don't know what that means.
That's the company that made like the Twilight movies and the Host and stuff like that.
Gotcha.
Every now and then they do something I like. They did Drive Angry.
I did like Drive Angry. It's basically the story about like it's this sort of futuristic dystopia where humanity is separated into a bunch of different camps. There's like the Dauntless, who their main trait is fearlessness, and like I don't remember the names of all the other ones. There's like the kind drab ones and the smarty pants mean ones, and when you reach a certain age you take a test, and the test tells you definitely which of those groups you go out into. And if you don't get picked for any one of the particular ones, you're considered divergent and they kill you. So the girl we're focusing on, she gets named Divergent. The girl who gave her the test kind of hides it, and she goes into Dauntless, and it's about her adventures. Again, it was pretty good. It's teeny, we're in a futuristic dystopia. Oh, look, it's a pretty boy. We should probably make out.
Well, yeah, it's the future. The second that trailer started, I was like, how long until it says based on the worldwide bestseller? It did. It didn't disappoint. It looks like, book aside, it looks like a movie that's being made because The Hunger Games is popular. Which, with that being said, at least we're away from the movies that are being made because Twilight's popular. Honestly, I feel bad for a lot of those books because there's some of them that are probably written, some of them maybe even before like Twilight or The Hunger Games or any of that, and maybe are not being written just to capitalize on a certain popularity of another book, but dear God, the movies are.
Yeah, honestly, Mortal Instruments wasn't bad until they got to the whole, oh, by the way, you guys are related thing.
The movie?
No, the book.
Oh. The book I don't know.
That's why I stopped reading it, because I was like, okay, these two have a kind of an interesting repartee, and this is an interesting story. Oh no! Click.
Do you want me to spoil it for you?
Oh, I've been told that it turns out they're not brother and sister, but I'm not going to spend 3 books having them all torn up about the fact that they totally want to bone their brother.
Yeah, that made that movie weird. Like that movie sucks. But it was funny. Like between that and that Paranoia movie, like that was the easier sit.
Well, it's got that wispy little blonde kid from Sweeney Todd, and I liked him in that.
He's not much
no?
in this, no. But I mean, from what I hear, parts in the book that are supposed to be very humorous are played straight in the movie, which unintentionally makes it kind of funny. But that movie it is unintentionally humorous. It was the easier sit between that and Paranoia. But in the movie, though, when it turns out they think that they're brother and sister, they're still like, oh man, doesn't this suck? But we want to bone so bad. Oh God, I want you. Like, it's shit like that for like the last half. I'm sitting there cackling like, this is sleazy. What the fuck?
What about Beautiful Creatures? That one was supposed to be pretty bad.
I didn't. Jillian and Ryan were at that and said it wasn't that bad. Having been a year later, if I was to bring up the movie to them now, I don't know what they would say.
Remember.
I barely remember. What the fuck else did we get there? We got that Angelina Jolie movie.
Oh yeah, Maleficent.
Yeah. What was a
Hollow
decent
Bastion
teaser.
where Maleficent resides. I don't know, like what they're trying to get at. Like if they're just telling Sleeping Beauty straight with her still being the bad guy, or if they're trying to make it sort of like a sympathetic, Wicked, the Life and Times, the Wicked Witch of the West sort of thing, where she's really trying to protect her, and that's why she built a castle of thorns and put her to sleep for 1,000 years. But like it looks pretty. And Angelina Jolie really looks like Gina Davis, the way they did her makeup. Like, to the point that I didn't realize that was her until it was like, and then Angelina Jolie.
I like evil Angelina Jolie, so I might like that movie. I'm sure the 3D will be good.
Oh, it's 3D, isn't it?
I honestly don't know. Judging from that trailer, I would bet money on it.
What else did we get? We got, American Hustle.
When I
walked out of the room for that one, I think it was just because what's her face?
Yeah, I walked back into the room when that trailer was on, and at first I was like, why are they showing... I mean, that movie looks really fucking good, but at first I was like, why are they showing the trailer for this in front of Hunger Games? I was like, oh, right, because it's got Jennifer Lawrence in it. Okay, all right. I giggle every time I see Bradley Cooper with his tiny, tiny little rollers. That movie is made up of people whose hair I so want. Whether it's his...
The elaborate comb over.
Well, not that. I could do that now. This sweet pompadour thing that Renner has going on in there, like, so luscious. I wish he had that hair in the Bourne Legacy. With that hair beating up a wolf, that would have been great.
That's like 3 inches to his height.
Yeah, see, now I want it even more.
We'll make you one.
Oh, we got fucking Justin Bieber.
Oh, yeah.
I thought I was going to be spared another concert movie.
It's funny because it's like last week he was caught in bed with like all the prostitutes.
Oh, it's that kind of movie. I'm fucking there. Between that and groping fans and drunkenly pissing in restaurant buckets and shit.
Is he like cussing out Bill Clinton or something? I don't even understand that guy anymore.
He's a fucking...
He's got like a leopard print convertible that he just like drives in circles around his neighborhood. In the movie, there's actually a line where they've got him on a couch and he's doing like an interview, and they're like, you could be the next train wreck. I'm like, yeah.
Could be? He already fucking is the next little fucking bastard.
That kid is getting weird.
I'm gonna have to be. I told Dave, I don't think you'd gotten out of the theater yet, but I was like, because Dave is who I go see the concert movies with, and so, I come out here, I'm like, so there's another concert movie coming out next month, and his face just dead. He's, what? Like, Justin Bieber, Believe. He's, no, fuck, alright, I'm gonna fucking go see that fucking cocksucking movie on one fucking condition. You buy me a fucking thing of whiskey so I can chug it a half hour before we fucking go see it, and I'm gonna watch it shit-faced drunk. You have to carry my ass out of the goddamn theater.
Oh, cussy Dave. You're so cussy.
Alright, Dave, I'll get you some whiskey. We were be par for the fucking chorus. We were high as shit when we saw the Katy Perry movie.
You sure were.
That fucking threw us off when that entire screen went pink. 'Cause my ass had to get up and say, "Hey, there's something wrong with our projector. It's all pink." The guy, "Sir, are you sure that's just not part of the movie?" "No, it's all pink. Go see it for yourself."
How long did you wait for it to keep being pink until you figured, no, this can't possibly be part of it?
No, I knew right away because I was in the restroom. The theater was empty. I was in the restroom. Dave was sitting kind of in the middle up by the front bars. Dave was sitting there with the 3D glasses on, popcorn one hand, soda in the other. I walk in, I see that the entire screen is just pink. And I look over at Dave, who's sitting there with the glasses on, the pink reflecting from his glasses, going, "Dude, this movie's fucking with me already!" Like, "I don't think it's supposed to be like that, buddy. Hang on, I'll be right back." Change it back, half hour later, "Bring back the pink!"
I miss when it was pink.
I miss when this movie was pink.
Sur le neige d'antan.
You got any vital thoughts about Hunger Games?
Oh, very good. Go see Catching Fire and then say, okay. And then they all lived happily ever after. And then don't see the third one. Which would be kind of hard at the end of this movie. But I think you can manage it if you use the power of imagination.
That was another thing. I wasn't expecting a cliffhanger.
It was very cliffhanger, which is how the book ended, too.
Yeah. Usually I only come across that when a first movie is trying to sequel bait, or if they like split a movie in two, or they make sequels back to back and shit like that. I wasn't really expecting as big of a cliffhanger at the end of this, which was fine. I thought it was a good cliffhanger.
They didn't touch so much on this is a random thought, but when PETA mentioned that, it's too bad because we got married already and Katniss is pregnant.
I liked that.
You just started laughing. I was like, oh, okay, because I knew it was coming.
Oh, I
you
did.
could tell the people in the audience who hadn't read the book because they're like, ha!
I liked that. I mean, I was sitting there saying,
Because, the people in the Capitol, they're used to watching this as, a show, but it's basically, you took all their favorite characters from all their favorite TV shows and said, okay, now we're going to kill all of these. Well,
not the killing part, but there are stupid-ass shows that bring back winners from previous fucking seasons and shit like that, so I really liked how cutting this movie was and all that, especially the...
Effie Trinket even, because she was, she's kind of a moron, but she was starting to break down, and they showed it just through small stuff, her makeup getting, less and less well applied as the movie went on, and her smile just starting to slip.
Yeah, it actually humanized that character quite a bit, which I liked. It didn't seem like it was out of place. It seemed like it was totally natural.
Yeah, Effie was, having deep thoughts for the first time in her life.
Yeah.
And they were honestly, not pleasant ones.
Yeah, they were still about gold.
Well, because you've got your pen, and I've got my hair.
I was kind of sitting there I don't know how this is supposed to make the president look good. He's going to kill a pregnant woman on live television. If anything, this is going to make his situation worse.
And Peeta's as much as I don't like that character, he is really good at that manipulation aspect of the games. But yeah, that was one of the plot twists I was going to ask you about, as well as the nuts and bolts. I think are probably my favorite characters aside from Fennec. What'd you think of him?
Which one was he?
He was the really, really pretty gay one.
Oh, he was fine.
With the trident. He was one of my favorite characters in the book, and I think that they lowered his charisma levels a little bit in the movie just so that he wouldn't be prettier and more popular than the two boys that we're supposed to be rooting for.
Well, he was better than Liam Hemsworth.
He's supposed to be so pretty and charismatic that everyone in the Capitol, male and female, want to bone him. And I don't think that guy was quite at that level, but he was still very pretty.
I think that they got a good group of actors here who were made up to look very stereotypically TV hot. You know what I mean?
TV hot, I agree.
Yeah, whether it was dude with Ken haircut and a cleft chin and shit like that, and just really really stereotypical TV humor that they were saying in it. I think these movies are at their best when they do stuff like that, and they devote quite a lot of time to it, which is good because it's my favorite parts of these movies. I spent most of the movie when Jenna Malone was on screen.
Which one was she?
She's the one who was the brunette who took her clothes off.
Oh, okay. I can't remember her name. The angry one.
Yeah. I spent most of the movie going like, I fucking recognize her. Who the fuck is? I didn't figure it out till the end. I was like, this is throwing me off because she's kind of got Kristen Stewart's face with Kat Denning's eyes. This is really throwing me off. Like, who the fuck is this? I know this fucking person from somewhere.
Yeah, she did an amazing job.
She was really good. So I honestly do recommend the movie. If you liked the first one, honestly, you'll probably like this one better because most of the things I didn't, and I liked the first one, but most of the things I didn't care much about in the original either weren't here or it was minimal, or it was relatively minimal, and it same had, yeah, that's a word, and it still had that same kick to the nuts to fucking reality TV that the first one had, and it honestly even kind of done better. So I do recommend it. If you don't like, if you hated the first one, you're probably not gonna like this. Like, maybe you won't dislike it as much, but you probably still won't like it.
I know that Brian and Letty didn't much care for the first one, but I think that they like this one better, because their problems with the first one is that it didn't really explain the stuff that they left out of the book. I think that this one simplified it without mentioning the stuff that they simplified out of it, you know? But even if you haven't read the books, you'll still really, really like it, and so I would recommend it.
Yeah, I forget what next week. Next week there's like 4 goddamn movies. It's like Frozen.
I still can't tell if Frozen's gonna be good or not, because like I've only ever seen the preview where it's just that stupid reindeer snowman battle.
Yeah, that's the only trailer I've seen too.
I don't think even remotely what it's about.
No, like Jake has gotten the full trailer for it quite a bit, and he's not really sold on it that much. The teaser I thought was kind of cute, but it doesn't. I don't think it probably shows much about the movie. That comes out. I think Old Boy comes out. The Statham movie does. I'm sure there's probably something else.
You said Out of the Furnace or whatever?
That comes out like in a couple weeks. That comes out opposite the Riff Tracks. Santa Claus Conquers the Martians.
I want to go see that.
Yeah. I do want to see that.
We'll do a review of it.
And then there was this joke,
and then
this
they said
joke,
this, and it was
then
hilarious,
they said this.
and it was like the episode in this part, but it wasn't like the episode in this part.
That'll be hilarious.
Some of you'll get it.
If you missed it, sorry. Maybe they'll re-show it in a couple weeks. See ya.
Bye.